Welcome to the Secrets of the Raknus Selu Trail Podcast. Hear from Chris Stowers and Danny Wen-Shi-Koi on the behind-the-scenes experience of making the documentary.
Hello everyone, 大家好，我係Wen-Shi-Koi. I'm the radio host and the travel writer in Taiwan.
Hi everyone, 大家好. I'm Chris Stowers. I'm a photographer, an English photographer based in Taiwan. And we will share our experiences along the Raknus Selu Trail on this podcast.
Yes, Raknus.
Raknus
is very
Selu.
important, right? Yes, because right before we joined this documentary, we have no idea what is Raknus and also have no idea how to pronounce this word.
Yes, it's written in English as Raknus. So that's how I was saying it, but many people didn't understand what it was I was trying to say.
Fun fact, Raknus is the term used by the Sai and Atayal tribes to refer to camphor tree, and Selu means small path in the Hakka language.
Even though all Hakka people living together, but we spoke a different kind of accent.
Quite a lot of different accents I heard there.
One thing I think is very common is called Shi-Kai, which means thank you, right?
Yeah.
So why don't we do this as 3 different accents? Okay. Are you ready?
I remember one I liked. I'll tell you why later on. But
first one from the 新竹海陆腔, which means新梦一. Yeah, this one is from
area.
from my area. It's 新梦一 from 新竹. Okay. Second one is from the 苗栗.
Right. This is the main or the more popular.
Right now, it's the most
right now.
Yeah, the most popular Hakka accent in Taiwan. Okay. It's 安子 say. See, they all the
totally
same meaning.
different.
Yes, same meaning, but totally different.
And this is how far is Hsinchu
it's just
from Miao?
right close.
It borders it. Yeah. Maybe one mountain in the way. And totally different.
Yeah, one is Xinmengyi, the other one is Anzi. But you know what? Following by the Taichung, that's another one called 大埔腔.
And this one I know. I remember.
This one you know, right?
Yeah.
Okay, called Lola.
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 Short and sharp and sweet.
Yes. Okay.
Lola.
Let's repeat after me. Okay. One more time. It's from the 新竹海陆腔. 新梦一. And second is from the 苗栗四线腔. 安子 say. Last one is from the 台中大埔腔. Lola. Okay, wow, you've done very good.
Well, thank you very much. You're very polite. You're very kind. Hakka people are very kind.
Thank you.
Fun fact, the Hakka Chinese language has 5 main dialects. There are 2 dialects that are most prevalent in Taiwan, the Suxian dialect and the Hailu dialect.
Chris, why don't you take this opportunity to explain what is a Raknus mean?
Okay, well, Raknus is... This is one part of the name of the trail that is actually derived from indigenous languages, from the Daya and Sai tribes. And this refers to...
2 different tribes.
2 different tribes, yes, living in mountainous areas. And this refers to the camphor, the wood, the tree, specifically the tree that used to grow naturally in Taiwan, huge camphor trees.
Yes.
Remember we saw a photograph, didn't we?
That
was a 1920 picture from National Geographic, right?
That one is like a late Qing dynasty, right? I was so shocked.
Well, I was blown away by the size of the tree. You had the people working inside the tree trunk, chiseling away the wood, which is used as it's a scented wood. So it was used at that time for perfumes, mostly, wasn't it? But the fact that you could get like a row of about 10 people chiseling away inside the trunk of the tree. And now, you remember the trees? We saw the camphor trees there.
Yeah.
They're not quite so big anymore.
No, it's different, totally different. Yes.
About a foot, 2 feet across.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately nowadays, because camphor, this industry is a little bit small, let's put this way. Well, but it's more variety, right?
Well, modern chemicals have now taken over and you don't need camphor so much. Although, however, there was still some industry there, wasn't there? There was a camphor factory we visited and they were keeping alive. In fact, they were finding that there was a resurgence of popularity. People have had enough with chemicals and they want to go back to natural products. So, they're making anything from soaps and shampoos even pest control. What you imagine, you think of it, and you can make it using camphor. It's quite amazing.
I'm so grateful, they still have, because the last time I went there, I bought a small bottle.
Yeah, bottle of, what did you buy? The camphor oil itself?
It's only the camphor oil. Yes. Yeah. It's just made me calm, like pretty much this one, yes.
Some of it here.
You still have this one?
It smells,
it smells
like,
so natural.
It smells like my grandmother's furniture.
The camphor industry was a major economic activity for the early settlers in northern and central Taiwan. Given camphore's many uses, it became a profitable industry.
So would you say it's true that the camphor came before the tea? So you had camphor first.
Camphor first, then tea.
And nowadays, what do people make their money from along the trail?
Well, they change a lot, as you know that because civilization. So that's why there's a lot
of people living there now.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Good thing is we still find that some, people still continuing carrying their tradition, family traditions and making the tea a special tea. Yeah. Remember that one?
Well, Mr. Chen, right? Up in
Mr. Chen.
His tea plantation. It wasn't very high, was it? It was maybe 300 meters.
No.
And I remember when we arrived and you could see the mist in the valley, in the distant valley. It was early morning. It was
that's
beautiful.
One thing for me is so memorable because as I mentioned that my childhood, I spent before the preschool, I was in the mountain in Beibu with my grandparents. So every morning, I remember that when I woke up, just walk out the door, I see the mountain, kind of the layer, and the mist exactly look like that. But nowadays, you can't. So every time when I travel around the world, when I get the chance to see the sunrise, every time when I see that kind of picture, I always remind me my childhood in the Beibu. And this time we were so lucky because at first I was thinking about, oh my God, so early. Why should we need to go there so early? Yeah. But
it's the magical time.
Yeah, that was so grateful.
So there's interesting things about that tea plantation because Mr. Chen himself had worked in Hsinchu Science Park for many years, doing a totally different job.
Especially in Hsinchu, this area, I would say there is a majority people, when you finish your education, pretty much everyone go to the Hsinchu Science Park.
Yeah, you get good money. Steady job.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But he seemed to really miss that. And not only for himself. I mean, he said that he missed his childhood. That's why he wanted to go back. But he also wanted that kind of childhood for his own children.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they maybe don't realize how lucky they are to have a dad like that.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing, when he talked about the environment, it's really touching, because nowadays everyone still use it's easy to get the chemical, right? Yeah. So that's why. But the specialty in Hsinchu, which is you cannot use the chemical at all because it's based on the little bug.
I tried to. Yeah, well, we weren't there exactly at the right time for the bugs. We tried to find one, and apparently there are normally millions of them. No. We found one, didn't we?
Yes.
And I got a shot before it jumped away. I did get a shot of it. Actually, that was quite of a challenge for the photographer at that time in the morning. To wake up and find a bug. Okay, tiny little thing. So that tea you're talking about, even I've heard of that tea because there's a connection with England.
Yes. It's 东方美人茶.
东方美人茶.
Yes, so this Oriental Beauty. Yeah. But in Hakka, we don't say the 东方美人茶. We say 捧凤茶.
Okay.
捧凤茶.
Yes. That means something different though. That's nothing to do
something different, yes.
So the Oriental Beauty, that was actually in relation to Queen Victoria from England, correct?
That's true, yes.
Because she liked that tea.
Well, that's a story people all talk about it. I have no idea because, when I grew up, it's already heard about this story. But that's a time period is people really don't talk about that because the industry pretty much gone, But recently, this kind of specialties are coming back very strongly because the quality is really good. Yeah, even though it's quite pricey. spicy. But nowadays you don't see this kind of quality, especially with the organic.
It's all totally hand cropped, isn't it? He's cutting the weeds and leaving some weeds. And it's quite overgrown plantation, right? But that was on purpose.
Yes. Yeah. Also, for me, it's like I was so happy to when we went down there. I was taking a photo and then sent to my mom. I said, "Hey, Ma, take a look. This is a tea plantation in the Beibu." My mom was like, she started laughing because she said, you had no idea. When I was the lady, I was the, young girl. Young girl back in that time, every day I had to walk to like 1 and 2 hours, go to school, then coming back. And, just like no time for the homework. We all have to go to the tea plantation to pick up the tea.
Carry on working after school.
Yeah, so that's why for her, she said at that time, that's a nightmare. Yeah. But nowadays, so different. So she can talk about, the good old days, something like that.
She's a living link to the past.
Yes.
Because in many ways, not every child is so lucky as the boys of Mr. Chen, who grew up living on that farm. Many are living in the city. They're disconnected, not only from that kind of countryside living, but from their Hakka culture as well.
And also, on the other hand, remember that we went there because at this time we do is a documentary. It's called Raknus Selu, which means this trail is along with all like tea. Back in the old day with the tea industry, and the camphor industry, and imagine. At that time, they was living in the mountain, and when they finished all this tea, they had to carry on all this tree, followed by this trail, and go down to the town and selling.
Even today, remember, it was quite difficult to get up to Mr. Chen's farm, and that's today. So you can imagine 100 years ago, everything would have to be transported by foot, and on swinging poles all the way down into the valley. That's why tea was such a prized commodity.
Fun fact: Oriental Beauty tea is one of the most famous oolong tea from Taiwan. It is said that when Queen Elizabeth II tasted it, she loved this tea for its unforgettable taste, and subsequently, the tea was named after her.
This is such a good opportunity because, be honest, when I was a kid, I living over there, and then when I grew up, I already moved out. So the memory is still just in when I was a kid. But this time, when you go back there, it's totally different. But the good thing is, like, wherever I go, remember that.
No, people remember
me.
Or your mother.
We remember my family, remember my mother. I was like, wow.
And what was your relative who had the hotel? And people remember staying in his hotel, right?
Yes, that's another thing. That's, to me, is very important because my grandpa used to have the hotel in the Zhudong, which is in the town.
It's in Hsinchu, right?
No, in the Hsinchu County. But at that time, Zhudong is like a town center. Everything's happening in the Zhudong. So those the people who had the tea or indigenous people, they come to the town. They need to find a place to stay. They will stay in the grandpa house. Grandpa the hotel.
Why would they stay in his hotel and not any other hotel?
Well, at that time, because it's a pretty much like during the Japanese period time, it's they try to. I won't say control, just like they only allow. They only allow few,
movement of people.
Like a few hotel they can that indigenous people stay.
Right, so the Aboriginal or indigenous people could not stay wherever they wanted to then at that time.
No, that's
what about the Hakka people? Could you?
Also,
you could move more freely at that time, could you, around?
So that's why I was so touching. Remember, we went to Miaoli. We saw the Sai Mr. Do.
Sai tribe.
He's like 78 years old. And when we start to talk about Zhudong and
that's right. He'd actually.
I was so surprised that he asked me about the Hakka. I was speak the Hakka with him. I was like, wow, you know my Hakka very well. And he said, because when I was young, I working at the, Zhudong, that's why. And I remember I stayed in the one hotel in the nearby the market. I was like, Wait a minute. It's just down to the market. And he said, oh yeah. And he still remembers the last name, same as my last name is when I was like, wow.
That has to, because your family name is quite rare, isn't it?
Yeah. That's something different. Yeah. So I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to join this documentary.
It kind of verifies, it puts the picture together, doesn't it? I remember when we were in the field of Mr. Chen, we also found there was like a gravestone. And there was like a family shrine, which is very well tended. But then there was this one odd gravestone that had been pushed over and was just lying there on the ground. And I thought, that's a bit disrespectful. But you mentioned to me, maybe a reason behind that, right?
For me, that's another thing I learned. In the past, I have no idea about this story at all. Or I would say that like a very traditional Hakka culture. They were saying that it's like for the Hakka culture, you always need to remember who you are. So wherever you go, doesn't matter how far you move. Family always with you together. So you always have to carry on with everything with the family. So the one of the thing is like a family tree. So you see, we normally put in the book, written down everything and carry on. And secondly, you will see that whenever you go to the house, remember I was pointing that they have
a plaque over the top of the door.
Yeah, they had said that like my family is a Taiwan Tang, which means like when you see this Taiwan Tang, you knew this is first is identified as a Hakka. Second, you knew these people, the original is from the Shanxi Taiwan. So we always, our Hakka culture is teach us
it's
like
rooted in that.
Yet you have to remember.
How many generations back is that?
More than 1,000 years,
But are you unusual in that you can trace your family back 1,000 years, or can every Hakka do this?
Not necessarily every Hakka, but my family, we are really,
you're serious
about this. So my family, the books still have it. So we can track back to the like a Tang Dynasty, something like that. I was,
so, like,
quite amazing. Yes. And also one time, I just followed this book, I went to the mainland China and go to the...
You tried to track down...
Exactly. I went to the Canton first and then move to the Jiangxi, then go to the Shanxi.
So you were reversing the routes.
Yes, and I find exactly where we came from.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was what I didn't understand at first about the gravestone we saw, because it had 3 characters on the top, and I thought, that's someone's name, 3 characters, but it's not. The central character was the family name, and then on either side of it was the 2 characters of the place name where the family originated from. So now whenever I look at this, I really do see differently.
So you learn some Hakka culture. But secondly, remember that we was asking him like, why this gravestone in here and also the broken?
That's right. That's right. A section of the stone had broken off at the bottom.
It's doing on the purpose. Because all the like Hakka people, they say whatever you go, you have to carry the ancestors with you together. So that's why original this Mr. Huang, their family, because
the gravestone was
the gravestone, the Mr. Huang. Yes, Mr. Huang family, they already moved out. So that's why when they move out, they talk to the ancestors. They say, we're going to move to for example, move to Taipei, somewhere else. So that's why please come with us. So when they just pray to the ancestors will answer to them. So when ancestors answer to them, so they will start doing this. Okay, now I'm going to carry you out. So I'm going to break the gravestone, which means you're no longer living here.
To that place. But then they took, because the section of stone at the bottom had a kind of a story written, but you couldn't follow the whole story because they took sections. So it's like a secret. They've taken the secret section. Nobody will actually know the story of the family apart from the people who originally made that stone. Right?
So see, this is very interesting about the Hakka culture. Even though for me, I've been studying for the more than 15 years, I don't know this kind of tradition at all. So this time when we joined this documentary, the filming, it truly made me feel like I need to study more, and also I'm so grateful. I know a lot about who I am, and also from my Hakka heritage, and also for the cultural value.
The religious practices of Hakka people are largely similar to those of other Han Chinese. ancestor veneration is the primary form of religious expression.
I enjoyed photographing the people we met along the way. Many have very interesting faces. I don't know whether you could say there's a Hakka style of face. I've lived in Taiwan on and off for many years.
Honestly, it's very difficult to tell.
I was wondering, can you tell? If you see people, can you say, oh, you're definitely Hakka?
You know what? Not at all. But one thing I can definitely identify, this person is a Hakka.
What's that?
When they speak the accent.
Oh.
For example, Hakka people is very interesting. Yeah. Even though for me, well, be honest, when I speak the Mandarin, every time when I get excited, when I speak the Mandarin, I will with the Hakka accent.
You can't help yourself.
Only Hakka people, they can identify. They say, oh, Daniel, he's Hakka. Yeah.
It amazes me that people are still so, that they're so shocked to find. Yeah. Because Kerjaren, which is the name that even Hakka people call themselves, it means like a guest person, or how would you explain it?
Well, if you talk about this, it's like we have to back to the history. Originally we are from the center
of China.
Center of the China. But time to time we're moving. So when we move, we always think about one day we have to go back. So that's why when people ask you where you guys came from, we say, oh, we're from the center. So people are thinking, oh, you are the guest. So that's why in the Chinese word, it's a ke, which means it's a guest. Okay. So, but
you don't mind being called that, for even though you've been settled here for many generations.
No. But normally, I would say that 200 years ago, people don't call ourselves as a Hakka, because then at that time people were thinking about when we call ourselves as a Hakka, we kind of like this, respectful for our cultural ancestors. But for the I would say the political issue or some other issue. So we start to recognize, yes, we are Hakka. You have to back to like a Ming dynasty, something like that. Yeah, start from that. Yeah, we start to call ourselves as Hakka.
Right. I think people are pretty proud to be called Hakka.
Yeah.
But you hear Kerjaren more often spoken, right?
Yes. But one thing, actually, I really want to ask you. It's like you've been living in Taiwan for several years, right? Yes. So you know Taiwan a lot. So what about the Hakka?
Well, I thought I knew Taiwan pretty well. And I guess I do around the edges. And certainly Taipei I knew pretty well. But not the central area. And if it wasn't for this trail that cuts right through the foothills of basically following National Route number 3 down the west coast, but inland in the foothills, that area I'd never really explored before.
So this time for you, it's the first time.
It's all hidden, isolated valleys. So every section of trail, every village seems to be cut off from the other one. Even though the trail links them together, it's incredible how many different styles of landscape and culture that you find along the way.
So before you come to Taiwan, do you know Hakka at all?
No, only from my travels in China, where I met Hakka people in Fuzhou, Guangdong province. But I didn't really understand what was. I heard the term, and sometimes people take me to a Hakka restaurant. But honestly, I had trouble to define what was different from Hakka food and normal Taiwanese food or Chinese food. Now I look at it very differently after these 10 days on the Raknus Selu Trail, for sure.
That's very good. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I think it's a time for us to say goodbye. It's just like I was saying, time flying when you're having fun, right?
I know. Yeah. Anyway, I'd like to thank everyone for listening in on this. I hope you learned something about the secrets of the Raknus Trail on this podcast.
Yes. So see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't miss the next episode on YouTube, Spotify, Shock App, Audio by SPH, or on ICRT Radio. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of the Raknus Selu Trail Podcast.